To defeat Trumpism, we're all going to have to unite as people on the left or moderate Democrats that are absolutely appalled by MAGA. And we're all going to have to make the leaders that we have better. We're going to have to make them fight and rise to the level that we expect from them and not be beholden. And the leader of the House of Representatives is Hakeem Jeffries. And he's been on our show. He makes himself available all the time. I have problems with some of his corporate donations, but he is the leader in the House that we have. So every day, all day, we need to encourage them to, like Beyonce says, to the left, to the left. It is very important that we take an economic populist message to the American public, and Hakeem Jeffries is starting to catch on. Here he is on the House floor talking about the heaping pile of dog shit, Trump's signature, cruel, asinine legislation.
On health care in the United States of America, people will die. Tens of thousands, perhaps year after year after year, as a result of the Republican assault on the health care of the American people. I'm sad. I never thought that I'd be on the House floor saying that this is a crime scene. And House Democrats want no part of it.
Okay. I know a lot of our listeners are very progressive and very on the left. I know some of you are just anti-Trump. And I know I've seen in the comments, a lot of you are turned off by Hakeem Jeffries. We are in the fight of our lives where we do not have the luxury of trying to defeat MAGA while at the same time dismantling our own leadership. And I propose to all of us that instead of browbeating him, calling him out where he is duplicitous, and encouraging him to do more of that. This bill is a crime scene. And I've been very worried about Hakeem Jeffries not standing up for the double-digit win in the New York City mayoral race, and then the following Islamophobic and completely racist attacks on Zohran Mamdani. And I was very pleasantly surprised to see Leader Jeffries tweet in response to Donald Trump's abject racism on Lie Social. Put this up. Trump posts, as president of the United States, I'm not going to let this communist lunatic destroy New York. Rest assured, I hold all the levers and I have all the cards. I'll save New York City and make it hot and great again, just like I did with the good old USA. And Hakeem's went in and retweeted this with comment and said, stop lying about Assemblyman Mamdani. He is neither a communist nor a lunatic, and New York City doesn't need to be saved by a wannabe king. Besides, you're too busy destroying America with your one big ugly bill to do anything else. And this is what I'm happy that Leader Jeffries did this, and we need more and more and more of this. We have to, as the public, push the leaders that we have that are in positions of power right now to the left, to the left. We have to get them to take the message that Mamdani took to New Yorkers and won by double digits.
I completely agree. I think you're so correct. But I look at Donald Trump's tweet a little differently, or his Lie Social post. He is basically saying, I will control the election. I am willing to commit crimes to do what I want. I mean, it's admissions. I hold all the levers. I hold all the cards. That worries me about the integrity of elections everywhere in the United States of America, because this man is so corrupt and his mind is so criminal. There is nothing that makes me believe he would not commit crimes to avoid a mayoral candidate that he doesn't like.
That's the thing. That's what's so devastating, Pumps, because the things that, like, when you think about if there's injustice, that even, the former Republican Party before it got completely MAGA. Of course, they were all beholden to corporations, but they really prided themselves on trying to uphold some appearance of the rule of law. The brazen law breaking and pardoning of violent criminals, and the race baiting and the hate mongering and the fear mongering that they do. It's just everything is on the table with this MFer. Everything is on the table. Okay, next up, we have Rolling Stone doing some reporting on Zohran Mamdani. Put this up, Kylie. They tweet, Mamdani is not in the country illegally. He does not have any connection to 9/11 or jihadist terrorism. Mamdani hasn't actually said or done anything anti-Semitic. He did not call to, quote, globalize the infantada. He is not a communist. And Kylie, leave this up. They do a whole article that I encourage each of you to go click and read, because they debunk all of the bullshit about Zohran Mamdani. And they are using xenophobic, Islamophobic tactics. And they are really, I think, trying to insult a lot of Jewish voters. Jewish voters are not a monolith. Yeah, some of them are Zionists and probably support war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu, who was just a smart version of Trump, and they probably voted for Trump. But then a lot of Jewish voters that I personally know, and naturally this is anecdotal, voted for Mamdani. And so they are saying that he has a connection to 9/11. Meanwhile, they're lying to you and not telling you Trump goes and plays patty cake with Saudi Arabia and they funded 9/11. They are telling you that he does all of these anti-Semitic things and actually pumps. Did you know that this man 3 years ago, before he ever ran for New York mayor, was tweeting about saving a Jewish bookstore in New York? So the lies that they use are just insane.
Okay, my thought on this is the racism that I see coming out of the MAGA party, particularly aimed at this man, it is, I would think, even as a racist, I would blush because it is so bad. I mean, you're run of the mill Republican conservative racist. I would think the stuff that MAGA does would make them blush. I don't know that, but it's so brazen. And to say that somebody who's overtly qualified because their skin is brown is the communist, when you've got Trump and all of his nefarious actors, they're so worried about anti-Semitism that, you know, Trump has Nick Fuentes at the White House, and Elon Musk is doing Sig Heils on the inauguration stage. The hypocrisy never ends. And the real race, I mean, I'm not worried about anything as much as I am worried about the racism and the cruelty and the ability for Americans to see brown people being sent to alligator Alcatraz and cheering. That's the biggest problem I see.
He's their worst nightmare because they have been able to propagandize the American public for decades. Since 9/11, and even before that, during a lot of the, Iranian hostages and all of that stuff. So the problem that they have with Zohran Mamdani is they don't want what they have propagandized the public about Muslims. They're all radical, woman-hating terrorists that want to blow shit up and want death to America, and then they go to heaven and they have 75 versions or whatever the thing is. And many, many, many Americans believe that all Muslims are a monolith and believe that. He's their worst nightmare because this guy arrives to the campaign trail and says, I leave no one behind. I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm not a transphobe. I'm not a homophobe. I'm not a racist. And I'm going to fight for the people that white Americans have left behind. And I'm going to point out the fact that more white Americans are on welfare than on Black Americans. And I'm going to call out all the racism in this country. And I'm going to put us all on a same playing field and fight for affordability. And the thing I like about this guy is he leaves not one motherfucker behind. He didn't throw the trans community under the bus like Gavin Newsom did when he sat down with Charlie Kirk. He doesn't throw the LGBTQ plus community behind like corporate Democrats do. He said affordability is for everyone. I don't give a damn if you're trans. I don't give a damn if you're an immigrant. I don't give a damn if you're black. I don't give a damn if you're brown. I don't give a damn if you're white. Every person deserves to be paid a livable wage. And to hear a Muslim say stuff like that is their worst nightmare, that a Muslim is going to fight for working class white Americans, and they're not going. And then how are the Republicans going to be able to blame everything on immigrants when an immigrant is fighting for working class Americans? So this is their worst fucking nightmare, because Muslims are not a monolith. And I want to show you what David Serotaa tweeted, and then I want to play a video of Mamdani and how effective his communications are. David Serotaa tweets, "My two thoughts on this are: number one, if every Dem would talk like this, the party might be a real opposition. Number two, it's shameful that some Dems have been more focused on using their platforms to demonize / undermine this guy than on fighting Trump." And let's listen to how effective he is as a messenger. Play the clip.
Yesterday, Donald Trump said that I should be arrested. He said that I should be deported. He said that I should be denaturalized. And he said those things about me, someone who stands to be the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations, someone who would also be the first Muslim and the first South Asian mayor in this city's history. Less so because of who I am, because of where I come from, because of how I look or how I speak, and more so because he wants to distract from what I fight for. I fight for working people. I fight for the very people that have been priced out of this city, and I fight for the same people that he said he was fighting for. This is the same president who ran on a campaign of cheaper groceries, who ran on a campaign about easing a suffocating cost of living crisis. And ultimately, it is easier for him to fan the flames of division than to acknowledge the ways in which he has betrayed those working class Americans, not just in this city, but across this country, and the ways in which he continues to betray them. Because we know that he would rather speak about me than speak about the legislation that he is shepherding through Washington, D.C. Legislation that will quite literally take health care away from Americans, legislation that will steal food from the hungry, legislation that looks to build upon one of the largest transfers of wealth we've seen in recent history in his first administration, and do it once again for the very Americans who already have enough. We should be fighting for those that do not have what they need to live a dignified life. That is what I will do, and I am thankful to have the protection and to have the support of so many New Yorkers.
Okay. Color me crazy, but it sounds like the Muslim is talking the way Christian politicians should talk, leaving no one behind and fighting for those that have been left behind, fighting for those who have been lied to. And they're going to race bait, but this is their worst nightmare, because this is the face of America now. America is not going to be a predominant white country anymore. We are a diverse nation, and I love the diversity in the United States. That's the coolest thing about being an American, is diversity. And those of us that believe in freedom embrace diversity. I welcome a Muslim mayor who leaves no one behind, who marched in the Gay Pride Parade just last weekend in New York City with a trans flag, gripping onto it. The most marginalized, abused, and victimized people in the corners of this country that these MAGA hypocritical Christians want to just verbally torture, and then use laws that torture them more, and then take away their suicide hotline. He wants to make New York City a sanctuary city for these people that are suffering in the name of MAGA Christians. He's their worst fucking nightmare, because he sounds more like a Christian. This brown-skinned Muslim sounds 10 million times more like a Christian than any Oklahoma City Christian that I've ever met in this hellscape buckle of the Bible Belt, Oklahoma City. I've never heard a Christian talk like this Muslim.
Well, I think it's a window into the soul of MAGA, that they can't accept that someone that's Muslim would fight for people that aren't Muslim, because they're only willing to fight for white people.
That's a good point.
And I'll tell you what else. When you were describing the stereotypes that MAGA puts on Muslims, you were describing Christianity. and Christian nationalism. They hate gays. They don't want women in power. They don't want to protect the LG
BTQ. Keep going. You got this, Pump.
the
You're right.
LGBTQIA plus community. There is not a piece of paper between radical Muslims and Christian nationalists.
I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, she is fucking spot on, sharp as a tack. Don't let her fumbling over your words diminish that brilliant point that there is no difference between fundamentalist Christians and fundamentalist Muslims, because fundamentalists are wackos. They're the thought police. They want to demean other people. And he is their worst fucking nightmare. And I want to leave you with this. Corporate Dems, focus on his messaging, defend him. This is our way out of this shithole. Come on, guys. Quit being compromised by AIPAC and all of your corporate donations and fight for the country. Otherwise, you're every bit the prostitute that all the MAGA politicians are. That's all we have for today, and we'll see you all later.